Hi y'all. Well, it's starting to get real hot here. It's about 90 degrees today, Fahrenheit. So it's getting there. Still see dum-dums wearing masks though. I'm seeing less people wearing masks. I don't know how you wear a mask when it's 90 degrees out. It's crazy. These poor construction guys, they have to wear them all the time while they're working. They opened up construction here on the 8th, so that's good news. Although I don't know what the long-term ramifications of this is going to be. I'd imagine that I'm not the only person moving out of this hellhole. I don't know if you know, when you look at all of these restaurants and stuff, like you can't go in there to eat. You can go in and get stuff, but you can't sit in there and eat yet. And even when they do open it back up, they're gonna have like a 25% is allowed to be open at once kind of thing. I don't know how you make a living in New York City with your rent being probably $10,000 a month as a restaurateur, maybe more, depending upon the location. I don't know how you make a living having, you know, one customer every 6 feet, especially if you look inside of some of these places. They're so small, you could only fit like, you know, maybe 8 tables in there in the first place. So it's really devastating. I find it interesting that CV cured all other forms of disease, and now the protests have cured CV, you know. Never ceases to amaze me how we just accept anything that the government tells us and just keep going, and things just keep getting more and more absurd. I figure they could tell you that, you know, you need to wear galoshes at all times with your mask and a dunce cap, and people would have done it. Whew, it really is starting to get warm. So we're going down here by some of these construction sites that have been closed down just to see what's going on. I see this one guy up here in front of me. He's got Turner logo on. That's where I used to work in DC. Actually, a guy called me yesterday who used to work at Turner Construction when I did, and he had looked at my profile on LinkedIn and he was looking to bid to me up here. He doesn't work at Turner anymore either. He was there like 5 years, but he remembers some of the people I worked with. So it's such a small world. That's why it pays to not be an asshole. Except for I'm kind of an asshole. Like I don't believe what the government says, and I'm pretty vocal about it. I don't know. I just figured that if you don't like me because I don't believe everything I'm told, I don't like you either. So I guess that does make me a jerk. So here's the one I had said in a previous video that was a facade renovation, I mean. Look, they got the hoists coming. The counterweight going down. That's good. I at least hear saws and drills. That's good news. Can't really see what they're doing to it. Looks like they may be even putting on new glass. New glazing. See, that one over there has an impressive window washing system. It cost you probably $500,000 for that. Maybe less because it's probably older. We got all the guys on their lunch break, you know, since they can't sit in anywhere. But at least they're working. It's good news. It makes me happy. Now if we could just get people to stop believing in this bullshit virus. I mean, it's just ridiculous already. Ridiculous.
Oh, I wasn't.
I don't know. People are true believers. Just believe whatever. Here's another hoist going up. That's good news. Or going up and down, I mean. This one's coming down. So this one is the Turner job that's up. Started packing up my stuff today. I don't have that much. I'm kind of proud of myself. I get really annoyed when I accumulate too much junk. I wonder if they're going to be able to rent these out and what the true ramifications are going to be. I noticed they're saying they're thinking about defunding the police, which I think is amusing. You know, de Blasio and his wife stole $1 billion from the city's mental health fund already. So them defunding the police doesn't surprise me. So the plan has always been to have federal police. The federal, you know, which will end up being the New World Order police force. And a lot of people don't know this. So I went to a meeting, it was back in 2011 down in Fredericksburg, Virginia. I had been approached by the Republican Party to run for office. And a friend of mine and I went down there just to meet some people and also to listen, you know, to the local government meeting. And in that meeting, they said that that county was already, you know, really in debt. And I thought, how on earth is that even possible? And then they said that, you know, the bailout money that came from Obama, they said that the bailout money had this stipulation for this small county that they were going to have like an extra 6 sheriffs and their deputies, and they gave them the money so that those people were federally funded. And then what they did is, after a few years, I think it was maybe 5 years, the county was supposed to raise taxes to accommodate these new police officers, whether they needed them or not. So this has been going on for a long time. You know, the police have been, what do you call it? They've been militarized. And this started in like the late 80s and 90s. So what the government did back then is they armed the drug cartels, you know, because our government created them. They armed the drug cartels. Ooh, look at that car. They armed the drug cartels, and then there was a documentary on TV, I remember watching it, that the LAPD was being outgunned by the drug cartels, and that they needed to be armed up like the military is, because the drug cartels are armed like the military. In fact, if you go right now and you go to YouTube and you watch like a documentary on the Colombian drug cartels, you will see that those people, they are actually fitted out just like the U.S. Army. In fact, they're wearing our LCEs. They got everything that we had. And so that's how I knew that our government was involved, because they're literally wearing what we wore. So that's the deal. So anyways, there was a big documentary that everybody watched on TV, and I remember this because I was like 14, I guess, at the time, on TV. And you know, the police were complaining that they were getting gunned down by the drug cartels. And so this has been going on for a very, very long time. What we're dealing with, these people that we're dealing with, these entities, whatever you want to call them, they've been doing this. They've had this plan for, you know, probably 1,000 years or more. They've been going on this. I mean, they wrote it down for you in the Bible, what they were up to. Of course, they write it in allegory, so you don't quite understand. But they tell you what they're going to do. And, you know, it's the same thing here, what you see with the federal police. You know, it's no longer Mayberry. They're out there with their weapons. And I also think it's kind of amusing that the government declared 95% of us non-essential. And we just seem to, good Lord. Guy's wearing like a mosquito net for an outfit. It's a new one. Here's the Javits Center. We still got some soldiers here getting ready for the martial law. Or actually, they've been here this whole time. We've been like secretly under martial law, I guess. Most people don't realize it. Still no patience, because CV doesn't exist. It's bullshit. It's the common cold. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, I was talking about 95% of people basically were declared non-essential, which means they don't give a shit about you, whether you live or die, or if you can feed your kids or not. And this is the same sort of thing they did in Nazi Germany. They declared the disabled non-essential, not non-essential, they called them useless eaters. And so everybody went along with that because, you know, we don't care about the disabled. And then the next people they went after was the political dissidents. And then they went after the Jews. So it's like incremental, except for this time, they just went right for the jugular of most people, declared us all mostly non-essential. And the amusing part of that for me is that the police used to be part of the protective class, right? But now they're not. Now they're starting to becoming non-essential. And that's the whole point here. My point is that you always have to support constitutional inalienable rights, because if you will allow the government to take away your rights for any reason, for any person, right? Like, you may not like this person or that what they do, but if you are for them losing their inalienable rights and they lose their rights, it's going to be pretty quick and pretty easy for them to come for your rights. And that is how I see things. So, y'all have a good day. I don't want to talk too long today. A lot more traffic today, which is good. Take care. Bye.